Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
Oh
It's
my
recording,
gosh. It's
so
recording. We get a
picture
countdown.
in picture mode record. What's picture in picture mode? Well, okay.
I
It's
don't know what picture
recording.
mode would mean. We're
It's
here.
recording.
I feel honestly really excited to record this intro episode right now, especially after doing a little bit of editing and a little bit of posting, because I feel like I have a clear perspective on how I want to show up on my podcast rather than like flailing around being like, this is me, hi. I feel like that's still so much of it, but I am honestly just so excited to record this episode right now.
Same. I feel like we have a bit of a clearer understanding too of what this is even about and why we're doing this because we
Absolutely.
started just excited. We knew we wanted to do it, so we just started it, which is amazing because we weren't waiting for all our ducks to be in a row. We didn't spend hours or days saying, well, what's our mission statement and what's each episode going to be like and how are we going to plan each one out? We just were like, let's just jump into it. And I feel like that's the best way to start something. And through the actual creating process, then we discovered that because it's hard to say until you start. So now we have a general idea. I'm going to say now we know, but it's gonna shift. It's gonna be ever changing, I think.
Totally. I mean, it already did. I think like Erin has listened to it. I haven't listened to it, but we already recorded an intro episode 2 years ago. And she was telling me that I think our mission is very similar, but the way we show up is very different. Because apparently, for like half of that episode, we were just like staring at each other, being like, I love you. I can't believe we're doing this. We're here. We finally made it. I think that's so funny.
I think we just had to start and figure out what is this gonna be like us clicking record
Absolutely.
on a camera
Yep.
and then having a microphone in front of our faces. How are
Mm-hmm.
we gonna interact? And our reaction was, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, this is so awesome. I love you. Oh, guys, we started it. We did it. We clicked record,
It's so funny.
which is so
Uh,
valid.
we had to get our toes wet, dip our toes in the water for a little bit,
Yeah.
for little tootsies.
Tootsies? Tootsies.
I
Yeah.
think my
I was
mom
like, is
called
that it?
toes tootsies or something. Someone called my toes tootsies. I don't
Give
know
me your
who.
tootsies. That would be my mom being like
Stuck
a
on your
Tootsie
tootsies.
monster. Oh, God. Stuck
A
on your
tootsie
Tootsies.
monster.
So, what are we here talking about? We're here to talk about sucking on your Tootsies. And that's what we've discovered in the
That's
2 years
our
of recording.
mission statement.
Oh,
Uh,
boy.
okay. Well, I feel so much more confident in our title of our podcast because
Mm.
the essence of this is to kind of share our mission statement, our why, who we are, what to expect, who might resonate with what we say. There's a part of me that wanted to clarify the title of our podcast, Sacred Silliness. And I was like, we're silly, we're goofy, but this isn't like a comedy podcast. But at the same time, we find ways to incorporate lightheartedness and weirdness and allowing ourselves to express through being an odd one,
An odd couple.
an
That's
odd
what came to
couple.
my mind. what I think what I think it is, so sacred silliness to me, what it means to me is not necessarily highlighting that we are hilarious people, which to us, I think, we are. But um first I'll say just straight off the bat, it rolls off the tongue. It just sounds good. We said it and we were like, that just feels right. And there's something to that when you're coming up with a name to represent something and it feels right. You just stick with it. And then over time, the meaning forms. And to me, over time, what this means is we're creating a sacred space to allow for our truth to come through, to share our life experience, to talk about perhaps some quote unquote serious things, but in a lighthearted way because we time and time again come back to the cosmic humor of it all. Because we could be in an episode diving deep on grief and the truth about grief and the reality of it, and still there is this cosmic humor of we could be experiencing such deep sorrow and such heaviness in our bodies and our spirits. And yet, that is just a part of the experience. And it's not something to look at and dread or run away from. And so, I think the silliness is what keeps the lightheartedness about anything that we might talk about at all. Just a reminder that no matter what it is, it's just another experience, and it's a part of being alive. And sometimes when I'm in my darkest moments, I come back to the silliness, and that's something that Evelyn and I think do for each other often. Is we remind each other of that. I literally got her handwriting tattooed on me, a very sacred, silly phrase that we have coined and made our mantra for when we're in our darkest moments. And we can think back to that when we are deep, deep, deep in our suffering or just in deep pain and think, ah, okay, here I am. Let's laugh through it if we can and mentally do it if we can't.
Absolutely. I feel like the sacred silliness just encapsulates balance to me. I feel like it's such a good way of covering existence in just two words. And sure, there might be other words that could do the same thing, but like Erin said, this sounds sexy and cute. But sacred silliness too, like it's not a comedy podcast, it's mostly a podcast that is inviting depth and deep truth, whether that be heavy truth or light-hearted truth. It's sitting in the human aspects and also sitting in the void of consciousness and non-consciousness. Just, there's not even like a solid word, just silence is the word. I hope you picked up on that. It's everything. Sitting in that, but also just like one of our first we have our little notes for our podcast episodes so that we have some sort of guidance. And one of the first ones we have is talking about who we are. And I don't want to like take Erin's point away, but she mentioned how first and foremost we are pure consciousness. And so if you want to touch on that, if you would like to, since you brought that up.
If you want to, you can go for it.
Okay. So we're pure consciousness. And we can also hold these labels, like Erin's an artist, she is an actress, she's a musician, she's a singer, she's a business partner, she's a friend, she's a yoga instructor, and I am a lot of those things too. I'm also a student, I'm a social worker, I practice yoga, I teach yoga, I'm a student of yoga, I'm a student of life, right? We can hold all of these labels, and that touches on an element of us, but we are also the beings that are watching the whole thing unfold. We are also the beings that invite all of those labels, but doesn't use those labels as the pure and only definition of what we are, because we're so much more than that too. At the same time, we are not fully enlightened beings. And there are moments where we will be identified with any one of the labels that I just mentioned or other ones. And all we can do on this podcast is express our truth in the moment and do our best to speak from our hearts and from the wisdom that we've gathered over the years of living, over the years of practicing, over the years of being each other's best friend, and also perhaps several lifetimes before, just letting that wisdom download into whatever space we're in. But I think that this podcast is the perfect space to come into our truth and explore more and more and more of what that is. It's that space to explore truth.
I love this. I'm glad I gave it to you. Oh my gosh. I gave it to you. Wow.
Thank you for the
See,
permission.
there's a great example of that of just and that's just language too. But it's language that maybe that doesn't fully represent what I meant, by that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to have an episode on language, but
Mm.
anyway, moving forward, yeah. I mean, I don't even have anything really to add on to that. I just completely and utterly agree with you. And I think I also, yeah, just want to highlight that this is a big reason why we started this podcast is because I feel so can't express how lucky to know Evelyn and to have met a woman and a friend and a life partner that just understands me in a way that is she understands parts of me that are I can't even sometimes explain. I can't explain them to her or other people, but she's just like, I know I've been there. And this is what I've experienced. And I'm like, you just said it. You just said my experience out loud, which, life experience, human experience can be so nuanced, even though we all experience the same emotions. Sometimes it's caused by different things. It's just all so nuanced. We all are in different places in the world, surrounded by different people, having different kinds of interactions. Um, and it's really a blessing to know someone who can take how I'm feeling sometimes and express it out loud when I don't always have the words. And that brings me to kind of the origin of this podcast and why and how this started, which I just think is the cutest story. I think it's the cutest story ever. I'm gonna do this the whole time I explain. Okay, so we met. No, I'm gonna be so distracted if I do it. But we met in middle school. We were both
I
in
don't know if it was middle school,
USY.
real quick. Sorry. I think was it middle school or was it high school? Had braces. No, it was braces. It was middle school. Sorry, keep talking. It
I
was
think it was
sixth
seventh
grade.
grade. No, it wasn't sixth grade because I didn't have braces when I was in USY.
Oh my God. Okay, it was seventh
It
grade.
was at least seventh grade and then into
That's
eighth grade. But
amazing.
yeah, so we met in seventh grade. We were the ripe age of 12.
Yeah, 12, 13. One of
Yeah.
them.
And we met at Disney World. I thought that we met at Evelyn's synagogue, but apparently we met at, yeah, for the story, we'll say we met at Magic Kingdom, magical place. We were doing a trip there, a regional trip. So I'm from Orlando, she's from Jacksonville. And so our synagogues that were both connected to USY did trips and we all met there. And that's where we first connected. We literally have a photo together. I hardly remember that day at all. And anyway, so we connected. I remember she was really the person that I connected with most because, yeah, youth groups, I don't know if it's like this for all religions, but Jewish youth groups, man, can be so clicky. And also it's middle school and we're awkward and we don't know how to like be confident and talk to everyone with confidence. And so when you find someone that you're like, oh, I think I like you, haha, then it's like, okay, I'm sticking with this girl. And that's kind of what happened right off the bat. And since then, we had maybe seen each other 2, 3 times at different events. And we roomed together in a convention where we all went to a new city and stayed in a hotel. And we requested each other to be roommates. And we have photos on the bed, like,
Literally, oh my god, it's the cutest thing. Honestly, we should post them on our Instagram. That
we
would be
should.
so freaking
Like
cute.
then and now. Oh my gosh.
Then
In
and
North
now.
Carolina, we need to take a
Take
photo
bed
on your bed.
pictures.
Yes. And be like, then and now,
I love it.
2017. And yeah,
I
okay.
literally had like a side part too.
Yeah. Oh,
So good.
it's like brrr, all. It's like brrr, oh yeah. Oh yeah 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 yeah. Oh yeah 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 yeah. We should bring that back. Um. Wow. So yeah, and really, it wasn't anything too deep of a connection. In middle school, we were like, oh my god, you're my soulmate. It was just like, I vibe with you. You make me feel
Hmm.
safe. Let's be
Yes.
friends.
Yeah.
And then that's it. No talking, no communicating really
Yeah, it was like
until,
every once in a while that we would talk, but it was like the most minor catching up with each other, like maybe a DM on Instagram. I don't even know, like once a year type shit.
yeah, like staying in touch and just knowing like, okay, yeah,
She
we'll still like
exists.
be in each other's spheres on like the very outer sphere.
Outer sphere.
Outer sphere. I like that word. Ooh, that could be a cool song or album name. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna write it down for later. Um basically, yeah, pretty much nothing crazy until college. We both went to FSU and I had discovered through the grapevine, maybe through Instagram, that Evelyn was going to Florida State. And also, just another little thing that's kind of crazy and serendipitous is I had no plans to stay in Florida. That was my last choice, especially Florida State. I wanted to get out so far away. Thank God I didn't. Wow. Like, there's so many reasons why I'm grateful that I went to Florida State. And this is honestly one, the top three, in the top three. If, yeah.
Stabs.
Woo. So, and still, even then, the first 2 years of being at FSU, I maybe only saw Evelyn twice. One time, we made plans because we were like, let's connect. It's good to have a person we know here. And freshman year, I went to her apartment. We smoked a little ganja. And I remember getting way too high. And I remember also being nervous because I had no idea like how to interact with you. Also, just really because I was so stoned.
Did that
I
happen?
remember,
You
yes,
came
I
to
do
my apartment?
remember. Yeah, because it was the one, and I remember where you were living too with the pool in the center.
Oh my god,
And
I
you,
literally don't have that memory.
yeah, when you still lived with Anna.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was the
Sorry, keep
first
going.
time. No, no,
Did
you're
not know
good.
that
You're good.
happened.
Yeah,
I must
new
have been
memory
high too.
unlocked. Yeah, I think we like ripped a bong and we were in outer space. Um, And then the second time was you came to my apartment in Stadium Enclave. We're sitting on the balcony again, smoked a little ganja. That was a heavy habit at the time for me, multiple
And
times a day,
me.
every day for like a few years. Um, and yeah, and then we just clicked record on our voice memos because we were getting into it. And this was one of the best conversations I had probably had all of college so far. And it'd been like, I'd been there for a year and a half at this point. It was sophomore
Hmm.
year. And I was like, wait, something about this girl and I, like, we really understand each other and we can dive deep. We can deep sea dive together. And I was
Totally.
like, let's record this. This is so cool. And I really want to see if I still have it because I would love to
I
post a
think you
little clip of
do.
it.
Didn't you
I
find
probably
it?
do. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely, okay. We're gonna be posting. I feel like on Instagram that'd be really cool to like have a
That'd be
little clip
so
of it.
cute. Where it all
Little
started.
baby us. Yeah. And that's really where it started because I was like, we could have a podcast. Like
Dude.
we're getting into it right now. Like this is good stuff. And of
Little
course,
did we know.
little did we know, man, the foreshadowing is so real. And then if you want to talk about kind of how our friendship expanded from there, uh
Yeah.
uh yeah.
I would love to, because this part is. I love our story. I love our story so much. So, um, gosh, it's there's so many things that fell into place for us to be exactly where we are right now. And it's so much of it is just running through my mind right now, but I'm going to keep it as concise as possible. Essentially, I heard about this club at FSU called Buddhist Student Association, BSA for short. And I went to a meditation and was like, oh my God. Oh my God, my people. My people. I was suddenly surrounded by people who were seeking connection, like genuine connection. Were seeking to grow and evolve and come closer to their truth. And sure, we were still in undergrad and like still wanting to like party here and there and have fun and play and like that's still so much of the vibe that we all kind of cultivate is just a big playground of life. But suddenly I was surrounded by a bunch of amazing hippies. And I didn't want to go on this journey alone. Like, I knew one or two people in that group, but I really wanted a friend to come along on this journey with me. And I was going through all of these people in my mind and like asking a few people here and there, but like none of them clicked. And I was like, gosh, like who do I bring along? And then one night, I remember it so vividly. One night I was going to sleep, and that's when my mind is like the most creative. I thought, oh, Erin Yaffe. That's the girl that I need to invite. She matches the vibe. She would probably say yes. I would love to be closer friends with her. Let me ask her. So I texted her about this, and she literally was like, dude, you have no idea how much I needed this in this exact period of my life. Yes, I'm in. So then we started going to meditations together and growing our friendship, and we went to a music festival together. And I think that's where we really, really started getting closer as well. And over time, it just became more and more and more clear that we are just our best selves when we're together. We understand each other in a way that I've never experienced with any other human being. I feel so secure with this woman. I feel like I could do anything with her by my side. And I have felt her feel the same way, and I have also heard her say that she feels the same way. So it's something that
I
is
do feel the
so
same way.
she confirmed. um One of the first reasons that I wrote down of why we're doing this to have a passion project with your soulmate is absolutely incredible. Like to work on something that you feel so passionate about, so connected to with someone who feels the same way is truly magical. And that's not the only reason why we're doing this, but it is certainly like something that I could not ignore. I mean, the privilege of working with your best friend, man, There's not a lot of things like it.
Indeed. Mm. And I'm in such deep gratitude still to this day for Evelyn introducing me to Buddhist Student Association. So it actually changed the course of my life. And, hindsight, who could say what my life would have been like otherwise? Doesn't matter. But uh, it's definitely a huge part of why I am where I am now, and why I even went to my first yoga teacher training, why I'm a yoga teacher now, and why I've gained the knowledge that I've always been seeking and been able to understand some of the wisdom that I've always had, even as a kid. I've always been the one to kind of see situations from the outside and want to help my friends through different things. Usually it was, as a younger girl, always with boy problems or sometimes even friendship turmoil or with parents or siblings. And I always ended up being the person that people came to despite having never dated anyone, didn't have siblings, and my parents were older. So it was kind of like there wasn't, they were just older. So they were a little bit more calm and patient with me. And we didn't really have too much turmoil, I'm lucky to say. But I don't know. People would come to me with some pretty crazy things, and I'd just be like, like, oh, da, 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 da. And like, I can see why this, and that. And if you maybe looked at it this way, and they're like, wow. And I'd always be like, feeling like a fraud because I'm like, I've never had this experience, but somehow there's this part of me that here's what you're saying, can see it from this kind of objective place and kind of come back to you with perhaps they're feeling this way, you're feeling that way. You could look at it in this way and navigate it in this way. And yeah, and I felt like a fraud because it's like, well, where is this coming from? But I feel like maybe, in a past life or something. And the only reason that I would still feel comfortable being that person that people came to is because it would work. Like it would be of service and it would help the people that I loved. And so that always felt really nice to be able to be of service and give value to my friends' lives and whoever came to me in those moments. And that's what yoga has done for me too, is kind of shown me, oh, this is something I've always kind of tapped into, this understanding that we can be in the world and navigate situations without identifying with the emotions and being so sucked in and all of these things to the point where we're just reacting and fighting with the world around us and resisting it and wanting it to be a certain way. And so fighting to try and make it that way when it's just not how it's meant to be or wants to be. But anyway, I really do. I mean, that's where it started, was Buddhist Student Association, learning more about meditation, learning more about witnessing rather than reacting and being caught up in things, and yeah, and just connecting to such a beautiful community of people who were all the same, and we're all those kinds of people as well that people came to because they had this energy about them that was a bit more centered and maybe could see things from that certain point of view. Not that I didn't get caught up in my own stuff. That's like, because I still was, of course, and I've had some really really dark moments with myself where I lost myself completely and I was ignoring what I needed. And so, of course, I've had that journey too. But whenever it came to somebody else coming to me, I always was like, oh, set that aside. Here's what I think. And so, um, and
Yeah,
then,
man.
yeah, with Evelyn, I think you were one of the first people where I felt, oh my gosh, you are that person for me. I feel like I can really come to you with some of my darkest stuff,
I
and I
feel the
feel
same
so
way about you.
seen.
I really do. Yeah. You
Yeah.
have you have an inherent wisdom in you that really comes through in so many moments. And I resonate a lot with what you said about like being that friend that was just able to tap into whatever for other people. And it's so hard to apply to your own life. Oh my God. Because then you're
If
like, you're
only.
in it, right? Right? But that I mean that's like that's why we're here. That's why we're doing our practice is to gain that broader lens to not be so wrapped up in the micro struggles. But man, having a best friend and soul sister and business partner and lover and daughter and mother, all of the titles that Erin falls under for me in my relationship with her.
Mother. I was like,
In
hello?
so many, no, like, okay,
No, no,
in so
I
many
get it. I
ways,
get it. I
like,
get it.
that motherly aspect, though, does come through when you do provide that nurturing and that wisdom. And that's honestly, like, why I use that title for you in so many ways, is because, like, you have been, like, an emotional support for me in moments when I needed it. And I've also been an emotional support for you, which is why I gave you the
Mm-hmm.
title daughter.
Yeah.
And we're also soul sisters and playmates and lovers and best friends. Like there's so many aspects to to our there's so many
Best friendship.
aspects to our best friendship, to our relationship. And there's a reason for that. there's I chose this girl for a reason. One, because the universe told me to as I was falling asleep. And two, just it inherently is beautiful because she is beautiful and because I am beautiful. And this third child energy that is sacred silliness is nothing short of magic. And I'm really, really excited for the people to hear.
Yeah. I mean, whoever is listening right now, thanks. And I think just a couple more things to touch on that Evelyn brought up the other day, and I'm really grateful that she did because through her experience in grad school diving deeper into social work, homie has witnessed a lot of different situations, which I want to give you the space to touch on a bit. And yeah, and then from that just kind of stemming out into what are our perspectives, what are our biases that we're kind of bringing to this, and just kind of absolutely clearing the air right away of, we are coming from a place of privilege. So when we talk about the divinity of all of life, even in the darkest parts, when we talk about things like poverty and starvation and war, we understand that we are coming from a place, talking from a place of being very privileged. We've been really, really blessed in our lives. Not to say we haven't had our own struggles and things that we've had to work through, but when you're looking at the hierarchy of needs, we've had our like the basic needs met our whole life, and that's an incredible thing and something that a day doesn't go by where I'm not like, fuck, I'm so grateful for these things that I've been given in my life that some people never get to experience. And from that place, something that I just want to say is that I have been thinking a lot about my purpose and like creating a clear purpose statement with what I want to give to the world, how I want to be of service, how I want to use my innate gifts and the things that I've learned and what I want to continue to work towards. And what it all comes down to is I want to use the privilege that I was given to be able to give back as much as fucking possible, because what's the point of having safety and food on the table and family that cares for me if I'm not going to give every ounce of that back into the world and to people that don't have that, and to being of support to as many people as I can that might not have the emotional space to kind of understand and see things from a little bit of a more spacious perspective as well. So I know that's a pretty general statement there. And, through the episodes, you'll get to know us more and like what is the work that we're actually doing. But like, this is a part of that work. We we happen to have a little bit of time throughout the week to sit down and talk from our hearts. And it's really all in the hopes that we can inspire, that we can just bring more positive, loving energy into the world from this place of spaciousness and capability to do so. So, yeah, I just wanted to bring that in and touch on the privileges that we do come from and how that affects our perspectives.
Absolutely. You said that so beautifully. I don't think I could have said it better. So I'm really grateful you brought that up. Um, and I think also to add, you'll probably hear several moments of us in bliss, in complete bliss. Like you can probably hear it in our voices. And if you're happening to see it on video too, you can probably see it too, where we're just like, wow, life is so beautiful. We are so free. There's so much love. There's so much abundance and glory and magic, and every part of existence is just so perfect. And man, I think all of that is true. I wouldn't have said it if I didn't feel that that was true. And I think that that truth does not negate the immense suffering and imperfection in the world. And I think that the immense suffering and imperfection in the world does not negate the other truth either. I think that so much of this podcast is a space to come to truth, and that is sitting in the awfulness of human existence and the suffering that comes from that. And it's also sitting in the beauty of experiencing every human emotion and experience ever. And I hope that anyone who listens to us being in those blissful moments, you're able to recognize that so much of our purpose is to bring light to the world, just like what Erin said. And I think if we were to focus heavily on the suffering, it could be really educational and beneficial in some way, but our purpose is to bring hope. Our purpose is to bring love and laughter and compassion and kindness. And so by focusing on the love and on the magic, that's kind of what we're doing. We're bringing the love and the joy and the admiration for existence through our hearts, through our throats, and out into the microphone so that you get to experience that. It is our method of alleviating that suffering. We are creating that space for people to tap into the light. So by talking about the beauty of existence, we are not negating the suffering, but we are allowing for more of the bliss and the love and the kindness to come through. And I just really hope that that is understood as we move forward with releasing episodes, because we're as sensitive as we possibly can be to the different ways of existing on this earth. And as Erin said, we're privileged. So to a certain extent, we're never going to understand some pieces of suffering, but we can do our best to open our hearts to learning and hearing and having compassion and um, honoring in the best way that we possibly can.
Yeah, nicely said. Very well said. I think the only other thing that comes up for me is Ram Dass talks about this really, really beautifully, which is keeping your heart open in hell.
Mm.
And this is a video that you can look up. I highly recommend it. It's very simple. It's not a simple thing to um, do in action, but it is a very simple concept, which is that this is hell, right? Quote unquote. Okay, so take this with a grain of salt. This reality is hell because our minds can create that hell. Our minds can create heaven or hell. And in this realm, there is everything. There is abundance, success, family, community, love, nature. And there is poverty and natural disasters and war and genocide, and the list goes on, right? Of both things. It's infinite amount of all of the possible things you could ever experience. And it's all true all at the same time. People are experiencing both, whether that's one person experiencing both in their lifetime or different people experiencing only a lot of one or only a lot of the other. But at the end of the day, we're all going to experience it all to some extent. And keeping your heart open in hell is the difference between being in the place of the light that's within you, that's literally just observing it all, and recognizing that no matter what it is, whether you perceive it as good or bad, it just is. And that is what it is. And then coming into the human heart, where you feel for somebody, you feel compassion, which is also equally as important, because how else are we going to help each other through to reaching this level of presence where we're not swept up by it? So when you're witnessing somebody really, really, really deep in their suffering, it's the ability to say, okay, well, I'm not going to try and fix you because this is where you are. And there's nothing that I can necessarily do about it other than come to my human heart, feel so deeply for you and for your experience, and know that I've been there too, whether it's the same exact situation or just the same emotion that it brought into my heart. And I can sit there and I can witness you in that. And that's what we're trying to do generally in the world, is say, yeah, there's all of this happening, and we do feel incredibly deeply for the suffering that's going on, and we suffer ourselves because, like Evelyn said, we're not enlightened. And even though we know these concepts, we still will get caught up in it, and we'll experience something that will bring us down into the depths, and we might attach to it for a while. And our part of our work is to learn how to transmute that and eventually let it go, or at least just witness it being there without identifying with it and saying, well, I am this, and like they hurt me, and I have to be this way, and I have to harden myself. And it's like we're doing the best that we can not to harden ourselves, and to be in the world, to witness everything that's going on, and to do the best that we can, just like you said, to bring in the light, bring in the love, bring in hope. Because how could we possibly create more peace in this world if all we're doing is consuming and consuming and consuming all of the wrong things that are happening? Because the truth of the matter is that there has been disaster and unspeakable acts from humans happening since humans existed. Let's be real. There's just a different version of it happening all the time. And also, there was a point in time where we didn't have this much media and this much access to knowing what was going on all over the world, and now we do. So the important thing is that you can really come to the microcosm, really, really do the work in the microcosm first, just with yourself. And then that work that you do on yourself is the work that you'll be able to send out to all the people around you. And that butterfly effect is so important. I think one thing that can be really challenging is we feel the weight of our world on our shoulders. And how could we possibly feel that we have to do everything in our power to help everyone all around the globe? We can, but it's not going to be by focusing on somebody that's all the way across the world. We can keep our heart open to it still, keep that in our hearts. But the best thing that we can do is do the stronger work that's within us that affects the people around us, that affects then the city around us, and then the state, and it expands from there. And I think I think that's keeping your heart open and how, and hopefully we can honor that the best that we can. I know it's always something that we're thinking about and aware of. And so, at the same time, we're only human, and we're just gonna do our best.
So beautifully said. So beautifully said, Erin. You reminded me of another point that I wanted to make in honoring Ram Dass. You will probably hear us reference Ram Dass a few times. There's a few people in our sphere that have deeply influenced us in our growth. Hitomi Machizuki, an incredible YouTuber, she's one of them. And we talk about her a few times, and she actually inspired the name of this podcast. So, very cool. She mentioned Sacred Silliness one time in one of her episodes, and I was like, yo, Sacred Silliness! We were just using it as a term to exist, and then we're like, okay, well, this is actually a good podcast name. But that's besides the point. Ram Dass is one. No, I can't speak for Erin, but this might be the case for her. I'm not fully sure, but Ram Dass has been the single most influential force in my life outside of Erin. But man, Ram Dass is like so much of why I am the way I am, and everything that I share, there is an essence of him in that. And I just had to take a moment to honor his teachings because they have allowed both me and Erin to connect together, connect to the people around us, connect with people that get under our skin, connect with politicians that are so, 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 so nasty. Not connect with them, but find a way to come to a place of love within ourselves, for the people around us, and transmute the suffering and the egoic patterns and the neuroses into presence and non-judgment. And that's not to say anything is excused. I know I mentioned politicians, and I hope that it didn't come across that way, but
We do not support the system.
we do not support.
We
Yes.
don't support it. It is not, there's nothing healthy about what's going on in pretty much
Absolutely.
any government in the world right now.
Yeah. What I mostly meant by that is like seeing the pain and suffering in another human being
Yeah.
and seeing that that is what they are giving, And to be a being that is causing so much awfulness in this world, the negative karma that they are collecting right now and the negative experiences that they're going to experience allows me to have a place of compassion for a part of them that will have to experience that or has experienced that in a different lifetime, since time isn't necessarily linear. But that's also besides the point. It also allows me to transmute any anger and hatred within myself into something that I can work with and then give out to the beings around me that might also feel a lot of hatred and anger in their heart. Yeah, because it can be really easy to get sucked into the mindset of hate and thinking that the hate is what is going to turn things into love, but that's not the case. And I have to say, Ram Dass's teachings,
Man, it really brings a perspective that becomes so helpful because it is nowadays so easy to get caught in that anger and like why are they doing this? And why are they making
It's so
decisions for
valid too.
millions of people? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, and it's so valid. And then, but then the thing that sucks is that then all of a sudden you're caught up in that. It's the same energy of like, fuck you guys and fuck what you're doing. And yes, yes, feel that. Feel that, feel that, feel that. It is valid. It is so valid. And I'm still trying to work on this because it's really tricky. It's really
Yeah.
hard because it's really frustrating when you are somebody who looks at the world and says, I don't care what skin color you have, where you grew up, who you love, all of the things that define you as a person and as your persona as you show up in the world. I don't care. Everybody deserves safety, love, respect, right?
Hmm.
And these people, oopsies, these people who are power hungry, money hungry, whatever it is, they're in such darkness that they don't care. They're like, I want more money. I want more money for the people putting me in power, and whatever else happens in the world, fuck it, right? And that's frustrating as shit. And I'm gonna curse because I like to curse when it's warranted. And I think it's warranted here because it's incredibly frustrating.
I
And
think so
it's
too.
some of the hardest work that we need to do as beings who want to stay in a place of love and compassion because man, and I hear some of my friends have been talking about this too out here. It's like, how can I think about the worst possible person in the world, the Hitlers of it all, and still somehow find a place that is compassionate by seeing like that they must be so deep in their maniacal suffering mental disorder of some kind that they are just like horse blinders on. I don't care. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use fear to get people to do it. And we're going to descend into madness, into complete ignorance. And I'm going to do it with the power that I have. I'm going to do it through manipulation, and I'm going to manipulate a bunch of people to get them to do it for me. And yeah, and that's one of the biggest challenges doing this work is okay, how do we not fall into the trap of fear and anger because that is only going to make them more powerful.
Yeah.
And we don't want that. Nobody wants that, obviously. So, ooh, and I'm sure we can get into a whole episode about this, but yeah.
Of course we can. I mean, there's a lot of pain and suffering in the world that could be acknowledged and should be acknowledged and respected, but I think the practices that we have, the influences that we have in our life, like Erin said, help us tap into a place of compassion within ourselves. And the only work that we can possibly do is the work on ourselves. If we can cultivate a safe space within ourselves, if we can come to a place of compassion and non judgment for the shadow parts within ourselves, for the quote unquote negative parts of ourselves, that is like a factory that will transmute anything we come into healing. And
Mm.
addressing the hardest things that you can possibly address is what an opportunity. What an opportunity. But fortunately, these episodes will probably be something that you can tap into to regulate your nervous system and to remind yourself of what resonates with your heart. And, maybe what we say doesn't resonate with you. That's totally fine. What we say is not divine truth, it's our truth, it's what we experience as our divine truth. But I invite you to take what resonates into your heart, and what doesn't resonate, just let that
Leave it.
be. Yeah,
Yeah.
leave it. And I don't want to tell anyone how to live their life, especially if it doesn't feel right in their body or their mind. But the things that we say can be used as guideposts, you know? Like, you can listen to this as an exploration and see what makes you feel something. If it makes you feel in a negative way, that's another opportunity to explore something within yourself. If it feels like something that validates a part of yourself that you're like, oh wow, this is actually a truth for me, that's incredible too. And I hope that this is just a space that people can come to explore because it is safe and it is loving and it is non-judgmental. And Erin and I are going to show up in really vulnerable ways on here. There are parts of ourselves that will come through that we might not be proud of, and we might not always show up in a way that is actually true for ourselves. Maybe if we recorded an episode 2 years ago and we feel a little bit self conscious about being camera shy and talking a specific way. I'm not totally speaking from experience, but but there's going to be parts of ourselves that are vulnerable on here. And I'm hoping that actually I don't even hope for anything.
Mm.
I am here to speak my truth as much as I can. And if I mess up, I forgive myself. And I
Yeah,
know Erin will too.
always. In fact, I encourage it. I encourage it. I encourage it within you. I encourage it within me because that helps me to give myself more space and have less judgment towards myself. And I think this whole act of even recording this is just doing our best to show up, period, and not try and be perfect, and not because there is no perfect. We might like, yeah, you said it. We're not always, things aren't always going to come out in the exact right way, or they might not land the way that we want it to, or. And so, yeah, we just want to, this is just us sitting here right now as an introduction to say that we're not here thinking that we are the gurus of spirituality and girls in their 20s doing the best. And I think that's why I have so much resistance around posting on social media about me being a yoga teacher, for example, because yes, I am a guide, and I do I do know that this is something that I am capable of doing, and I am capable of guiding people to their own inner light, but I'm not sitting here claiming to be someone who has found complete and utter stillness and peace for myself. However, I've learned enough in my life, and I've learned how to share this and learned how to guide, and so that's just what I'm here doing. And yeah, and just the preface is that I'm not claiming to be anything. I'm just here to be, and I feel passionately, and I know Evelyn feels passionately about everything that we talk about, and that's, we're just here to be ourselves, and we're here to to be with you, and hopefully this allows you to be more, I don't even want to say be more you. It just allows you to be and gives you the space to be and feel like that's enough, and that you can show up in whatever way you need to. And we love you.
And we love you! Oh my gosh. And we love you. Amen, sister. I'm so happy
God
that this
bless.
is our God bless. I'm happy that this is our new Monday routine because I feel like starting the week in this way is like life force giving.
Also, this is my new recording spot with the
Yeah, it's
sunshine
fire.
through the window, and I can sit in my bed. I just don't ever allow myself to sit in my bed. I'm like, I'm going to go to yoga. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to edit this. I'm going to go teach. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And I don't ever just sit in my damn bed in the morning and drink my coffee and drink my water and, well, fuck. Well, fuck. Do I feel grateful to be able to do this?
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I have a big old smile in my heart and in my face and
Ugh. I wish we could do this 5 days a week. But alas, the fact that we can do it one is like,
it's like, whoa, the abundance. The
the abundance.
abundance. I just feel so excited. I just feel so excited to release
she
this.
has she has like the zoomies right now.
Yeah.
That's me often times, most of the time, all the time, whenever I think about this podcast, dude. Dude, okay. I know that this is only the first episode, but to whoever is listening, I hope y'all know we're so freaking excited about this. Like, Erin and I care so much about this. So much. Oh
Well,
my
this
God.
is you wouldn't know, but this is being recorded like 4 hours, 5 hours later.
Yeah.
But
3,
we're
4.
popping back on to just say thank you for listening and thanks for hearing about our origin story. Thanks for joining us on this journey if you're going to continue on the ride.
Yeah, listening to our why, I hope that all of that transfers through in all of the episodes. And no matter what, we appreciate you and we love you, even if we've never met you face to face. We wish you an abundance of inner peace and divine guidance. And we're really, 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 really excited to take you along on this journey of sacred silliness.
We're excited to be your pals in the car, on a walk, on your run, in your earbuds, on your speakers, and maybe even in person somewhere sometime.
Find us at Comic Con.
Comic Con? Where did that come from?
2027 meet and greet.
Yeah, we turn ourselves
That's a
into
joke.
like a midnight gospel type situation.
That would be so cool.
That's not out of the cards. I would love that.
I would say yes. Featuring Duncan Trussell. Amaze balls.
Yeah. Pretty amazeballs, guys. Have an amazeballs day, an amazeballs life, and let's dive in. Let's dive into some sacred silliness together.
Alrighty. I love you.
I love you.
Namaste.
And blessings. Mwah.
Mwah!